At first glance, it looked like just another routine update, the kind of news that gets reported and forgotten within 24 hours. Something solid, maybe even expected, but nothing that would fundamentally shift the conversation around the Los Angeles Dodgers. But once the full details started emerging from sources close to the organization, once insiders began connecting the dots and understanding what was really happening behind closed doors, everything changed. What's unfolding behind the scenes in Los Angeles right now is far bigger, far smarter, and far more impactful than anyone in the baseball world initially expected. And now fans, analysts, and rival front offices are all realizing the same thing simultaneously. This could be an absolutely massive win disguised as a simple update. The strategy behind this development, the timing of how it's unfolding, and the hidden advantages that are starting to surface are absolutely remarkable when you understand the complete picture. And suddenly, the entire outlook for the Dodgers season feels like it's been flipped completely upside down. Analysts who were hedging their predictions are now backtracking on their earlier takes. Skeptics who were questioning the Dodgers' depth and durability are going strangely quiet. And genuine excitement is building fast across Dodger Nation as the implications become crystal clear. This isn't luck. This isn't the baseball gods randomly smiling on Los Angeles. This is meticulous planning, elite organizational structure, and world-class medical and performance staff all paying off at absolutely the perfect moment. If you thought this situation was just okay, if you thought this was simply good news without much deeper significance, I need you to think again. Because the deeper you look into what's actually happening, the clearer it becomes. This might actually be a genuine game changer that nobody saw coming, and it could reshape the entire National League playoff race. Before we dive deep into today's massive update and break down exactly why this is so much bigger than the surface-level reports suggest, I need you to do me a quick favor. Smash that like button right now, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on those notifications. Because what I'm about to reveal about the Los Angeles Dodgers is not just good news in the traditional sense. It's way better than anyone expected, even the most optimistic fans. And the shocking details coming out right now from multiple sources are fundamentally changing how the entire league is looking at LA heading into the most critical stretch of the season. When this story first started circulating through baseball circles a few weeks ago, most fans and media members thought it was just another routine update about a player's recovery timeline or a minor roster adjustment. Maybe even something to be mildly concerned about if you were being pessimistic. There was hesitation across the fan base, genuine doubt about how things would play out, and even a little bit of panic spreading through certain corners of Dodger Nation. Social media was completely split on what this meant for the team's championship aspirations. Baseball insiders were being cautious with their language, not wanting to make bold predictions either way. And rival fans were already celebrating what they believed was a significant setback for Los Angeles, something that might finally level the playing field in what has been a Dodgers-dominated era. But now, right now as we're recording this, the full picture is finally coming together from multiple independent sources. And what we're learning about what's happening behind the scenes at Dodger Stadium and the team's training facilities completely flips the narrative on its head. This isn't organizational damage control trying to spin bad news into something palatable. This isn't public relations machinery working overtime to manage expectations. This is genuine, unexpected upside that even the Dodgers' own internal projections didn't fully anticipate. And it might end up being one of the most important turning points of the entire season. The kind of development that teams look back on in October and recognize as the moment everything clicked into place. Let's rewind for just a second and talk about the expectations that were hovering over this situation when it first developed. Coming into this particular stretch of the season, the Dodgers were already carrying absolutely enormous pressure on their shoulders. With the roster they've constructed, with the astronomical amount of money invested in elite talent, with superstars like Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman anchoring the lineup, and a pitching staff that's been under constant microscopic scrutiny from media and fans alike. Anything short of complete dominance feels like abject failure in the eyes of both the fan base and national baseball media. Every single injury, no matter how minor, becomes a major storyline. Every off night at the plate gets dissected endlessly on talk radio, Every quiet series where the offense doesn't score double-digit runs becomes magnified into a potential crisis. The expectations in Los Angeles aren't just high, they're almost impossibly elevated. And that's exactly why this latest development hits so incredibly hard and matters so much, because it directly addresses and attacks the biggest fears and concerns surrounding this team, and then turns those potential weaknesses into genuine strengths. At first, when the initial reports started filtering out through various media channels, they suggested uncertainty and ambiguity. Maybe timelines for return weren't entirely clear. Maybe recovery wasn't progressing quite as smoothly as the organization had initially hoped. Maybe the Dodgers would have to make a difficult decision at the trade deadline, either trading away prospects to acquire help or pushing someone back into action harder and faster than was medically prudent. That's the version of events that spread quickly through baseball Twitter and the sports talk ecosystem. That's the narrative that rival fan bases absolutely loved and amplified, hoping it signaled cracks in the Dodgers' armor. But behind closed doors, away from the cameras and microphones and social media speculation, the Dodgers front office, their world-class medical staff, and the coaching group were seeing something very, very different unfolding. Progress wasn't just steady and on schedule, it was actively accelerating beyond initial projections. Medical data and performance metrics were coming back cleaner than anyone anticipated. Physical responses to increased workloads were exceeding the benchmarks that had been established. And most importantly, most encouragingly, the player or players involved weren't just feeling good subjectively. They were performing at a level in controlled workout environments and simulated game situations that genuinely raised eyebrows internally among people who see elite athletes every single day. This is where things transition from simply good news to absolutely shocking developments that change everything. Sources with direct knowledge of the situation who are close to the team are now confirming that the Dodgers have quietly but significantly adjusted their internal projections and timelines. What was once considered a cautious, conservative, take-it-slow approach has shifted dramatically into an aggressive opportunity window. And no, that doesn't mean reckless or medically irresponsible. It means calculated confidence based on hard data. It means the Dodgers genuinely believe they're not just getting a player back from injury or getting someone's return to the active roster. They're getting immediate, meaningful impact. The kind of game-changing impact that fundamentally alters how opposing teams have to prepare for a series against Los Angeles. Think about what that does to the clubhouse dynamic and team morale. Suddenly, the energy spikes dramatically. Suddenly, guys who have been pressing too hard trying to overcompensate for absences can finally breathe easier and play their natural game. Suddenly, manager Dave Roberts has real options, genuine strategic flexibility, instead of being backed into corners by limitations and depth concerns. And that kind of flexibility is absolutely everything in today's analytically driven game. It's how championships are won in October, not through splashy April headlines, but through having multiple viable paths to victory when it matters most. Now, let's talk about the massive ripple effect throughout the organization, because this is where the story gets even bigger and more significant than just one player's return. When one situation improves faster and more completely than expected, it fundamentally reshapes the entire roster planning process. It directly affects rotation depth and how starters can be managed down the stretch. It changes bullpen usage patterns and allows relievers to be deployed more strategically. It opens up new lineup construction possibilities and matchup advantages. It enables better rest schedules that keep players fresher heading into October. And perhaps most importantly, it completely transforms trade deadline strategy and leverage. The Dodgers don't have to overpay in a panic anymore. They don't have to rush into a suboptimal move just to plug an immediate hole in the roster. Instead, they can be surgical and patient. They can wait for exactly the right opportunity. They can strike only if the deal is absolutely perfect and favors Los Angeles significantly. And that reality is absolutely terrifying for the rest of the league, especially teams that were counting on the Dodgers being desperate sellers willing to overpay. Baseball insiders around the league are now quietly whispering that teams who thought the Dodgers would be desperate and vulnerable at the deadline are suddenly and dramatically recalculating their strategies. Front office phones that were once silent or going straight to voicemail are now being answered very, very carefully. Trade discussions that seemed straightforward a few weeks ago have become complicated, because when LA operates from a clear position of organizational strength rather than need, they simply don't lose trades. They win them quietly, decisively, and often in ways that don't look flashy or generate huge headlines until months later when everyone realizes how brilliant the move actually was. And here's another absolutely critical detail that hasn't gotten nearly enough attention in the mainstream baseball media coverage. The timing of this development couldn't possibly be lining up better for the Dodgers' championship aspirations. As the season grinds relentlessly forward and bodies inevitably wear down across the league, as other contenders are desperately just trying to survive and stay healthy through the dog days of summer, Los Angeles may actually be getting stronger and adding reinforcements. That's not normal. That's not how baseball typically works. Most legitimate contenders at this stage are managing injuries, limiting innings, trying to keep their core players functional. The Dodgers, on the other hand, are potentially adding high-octane fuel to an engine that's already running hot. That's an absolute nightmare scenario for teams chasing them in the standings, and a serious warning sign for anyone hoping to catch Los Angeles sleeping or vulnerable. There's also something significant happening on the psychological level that goes beyond just statistics and roster construction. For several weeks, the narrative surrounding the Dodgers across national baseball media has been decidedly mixed and uncertain. Dominant on paper with elite talent across the roster, but inconsistent in actual execution on the field. Dangerous and capable of beating anyone, but also vulnerable and susceptible to surprising losses. Now that narrative is shifting again in real time as this news spreads. Confidence is building rapidly, not just internally within the Dodgers organization, but externally among analysts and odds makers. Analysts who were carefully hedging their takes and predictions are starting to sound noticeably more certain in their assessments. National power rankings are quietly adjusting upward. Championship odds are moving in Vegas as money flows toward Los Angeles. And once momentum like that starts genuinely rolling, once perception shifts from good team with questions to clear favorite, it becomes very, very hard to stop. Confidence breeds performance, and performance reinforces confidence in a virtuous cycle. Let's not forget about the player or players at the center of this entire situation. Elite competitors at this level don't just come back from adversity. They come back absolutely motivated and hungry. They come back with something significant to prove to doubters. Time away from competition, when handled properly, sharpens that hunger rather than dulling it. It resets mental focus and physical preparation. And if what the Dodgers are seeing and measuring in controlled training environments and simulated game situations translates effectively to actual game speed and playoff intensity competition, the league is about to get a stark reminder of exactly why this organization is feared and respected year after year. And yes, this development also puts productive pressure on the rest of the roster in an entirely positive way. Internal competition naturally elevates overall performance across the board. Knowing that reinforcements are coming and roster spots might become more competitive pushes everyone to lock in mentally and raise their game. Sloppy at-bats disappear. Pitch selection gets smarter and more disciplined. Defensive lapses tighten up as players compete for playing time. That's championship-caliber behavior and organizational culture, and it starts developing months before October, not when the playoffs begin. What's truly shocking when you step back and look at the complete picture is how quietly and methodically all of this has unfolded away from the spotlight. The Dodgers organization didn't leak hype to friendly reporters. They didn't overpromise timelines to generate positive press. They simply let speculation swirl in media circles while they worked behind the scenes gathering data and making evidence-based decisions. That's classic Andrew Friedman front office strategy refined over years. Stay calm regardless of external noise. Gather comprehensive information from multiple sources. Make decisions based on data rather than emotion. And strike decisively only when genuine certainty arrives. And now that certainty is arriving faster and more completely than anyone outside the organization predicted, even in optimistic scenarios. So, when you see headlines beginning to shift in tone over the coming days, when you notice the overall narrative around this team changing from cautious to confident, understand exactly why that's happening. This isn't baseless optimism or irrational exuberance from fans desperate for good news. This is evidence-based confidence built on medical data, performance metrics, and organizational competence. The kind of rock-solid foundation that turns, "maybe this works out," into, "watch out, here they come." And here's the part that should genuinely excite and energize every single Dodgers fan watching or reading this right now. This current development might not even represent the ceiling of what's possible. If this situation unlocks even one additional strategic move, one more roster adjustment, one more tactical edge that other teams can't match, the Dodgers could transition from being legitimate contenders to overwhelming clear favorites in a matter of just a few weeks. That's genuinely how thin the margin is at the absolute top of the sport. And that's how incredibly powerful good news and positive momentum can be when it hits exactly the right organization at exactly the right moment. Rival fans will inevitably try to downplay this development. They'll say it's too early to matter. They'll claim nothing matters until October anyway. They'll search desperately for reasons why this doesn't actually change anything significant. But deep down, in their hearts, they know the truth. Front offices around the league know. Opposing managers know. The Dodgers are trending sharply upward at precisely the moment you absolutely don't want them to if you're a competitor. Momentum is building. Health is improving. Options are expanding. And October is approaching fast. So buckle up and get ready, because this story isn't ending here with one positive update. This was the critical turning point. This was the specific moment where concern and uncertainty turned decisively into confidence, and where that confidence started transforming into something much bigger and more powerful. If you thought the Dodgers were dangerous before this news broke, just wait until this fully plays out over the coming weeks. Just wait until whatever's happening behind the scenes makes its way onto the field in meaningful games. The league has been warned. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay completely up to date with the latest Dodgers news the absolute moment it drops, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, smash that like button right now so this content reaches more fans, and drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this development changes everything for LA's championship chances, or are you still in wait-and-see mode until it translates to the field? Either way, stay locked in, because Dodgers baseball just got a whole lot more interesting, and this story is only beginning to unfold.